Welcome to our next video. My name is Mike, and today we're going to do the second step that one would do when one is building captions for a YouTube video. So we're using YouTube Transcription Pad, which is accessible via DIYcaptions.com. And we have, in the previous video, we took the automatic captions for this video and we turned them into a transcript. And there's the transcript. The video is just a short 2-minute video, so this should go pretty quickly. What we're going to do in this video is we're going to segment the video, and we're going to use basically the idea of a 42 character width segment. The term that I use for segments is subcaptions. I just kind of made that up one day, and I think it's a pretty good term. You'll see what I mean maybe as we go forward. So the tool that I use to make it easy to know when to break lines is called Web Paint, and it's a program that you can install as a Chrome extension, and it has little features that let you do things like build rectangles or draw rectangles on the screen. It has features that let you do things like draw rectangles, circles, ovals, polygons, arrows, etc. And we're using in this video so as you can see up here, this extension gives me a bunch of tools, and they can be used for drawing on top of a web page. So we're going to use the rectangle. You can see that I've already got it turned on the screen, so let's turn it off and start from there. The refrigerator is running, Bobby. I'll probably have very bad audio. I just have to do it anyway. So in order to make it easy to know where to break lines in sentences to make them fit in the basic rectangle that you would expect to see them in as captions in a video, we have this down here that I call a cutting guide, and you can set this to any number of characters that you want. I've got it by default set to 42. 42 is, I've got it set by default to 42. A number of transcription organizations like the 42 character width for some reason. So I have installed an extension. In my browser I have an extension installed called Web Paint, and this is a Chrome extension. It gives you different kinds of tools that you can use to draw items on a web page. So we're going to use the rectangular one. We're going to go with 100% transparency and about, let's just go with the smallest width for the lines, for the border. So we'll just go down here and draw us a rectangle. And so that makes it easy to see when we're outside of this kind of 42 character width. Now mind you, the text that we're using, the font that we're using, now mind you, the font that I'm using is a proportional spaced font, which means that not every character has the same width, which means that 42 characters doesn't always mean the same. But most captions are displayed in proportional fonts, and so in my mind it makes sense to kind of take a basic average size width character, render it 42 times, and use that as the guideline, because if you have a bunch of W's, obviously they're going to go a lot wider than if you have a bunch of I's. So go ahead and switch back to the arrow, turn off this display, but it will leave the rectangle on the screen, and now we can get to work. So Transcription Pad has a number of keystrokes that you can use to make the process of breaking lines or segmenting go more quickly. And the first of those is the Shift Enter key. Now if I go and I just put my cursor somewhere and I press Enter, What that usually does is it leaves a space at the end of the first line, no space at the second line. So I would typically have to do 2 keystrokes, backspace and enter. But Shift Enter is defined in this program actually removes spaces after lines. So if you go to the top, you'll see that there is no space. The other thing that Shift Enter does in the context of YouTube Transcription Pad is that it's kind of smart in that if you decide that you really want to try a different breakpoint, when you press Shift Enter, it takes out the other line break and inserts your new line break. So I can go to any place I want, and I only have to press Shift Enter once. I don't have to go and delete the other line break to see the new alignment. But to even make that even easier, if our cursor is sitting, say, here, and I press Alt-Shift left, notice that it starts to move the line break one word to the left each time I press Alt-Shift left. And if I go Alt-Shift right, it does the same thing in the other direction. And it turns out that I've also got Alt-Shift down configured to do the same thing that Alt-Shift right does, and Alt-Shift left does the same thing that Alt-Shift and Alt-Shift up does the same thing that Alt-Shift left does. So see, it's okay, Bobby, if I say so, because I can just cut out every so, and then it sounds semi-professional. But when I'm talking, if I try to not say so, I get self-conscious, and then I can't think about what to actually say. So is like comfort food while I'm on a diet, or supposed to be on a diet. All right, so now we have so much phlegm going on in my mouth, in my head. Oh my gosh, I'm swallowing phlegm every time I'm speaking. Every time I swallow, I'm swallowing phlegm. So there's our first one. Now the other thing that Shift Enter does is it kind of tries to make a guess at where a good breakpoint would be all in one keystroke. So if I press Shift Enter from the beginning of a line, notice that it jumps to about there. And then I can kind of make sort of a semantic decision as to where I want those two lines to break. I don't want it to break between this is an infinitive verb, so I don't want to break it between to and see, so I'm going to go before to and see how it looks. Then I'm going to do that. He then hid in the bushes and watched to see if anyone would move the rock out of the way. That to me looks very nicely balanced and very semantically balanced. So it's like two separate sorts of clauses, phrases that render nicely on the screen at the same time. So that one's taken care of. So we're just going to keep going through, and I'm going to just basically tell you what keystroke I'm doing for a little while, and then I'm going to assume that you've got it after a few, and then I'll just finish the whole document and we'll call it a day. Now Alt-Shift-Enter puts in a blank line, so that effectively creates a new subcaption, splits 1 into 2. Many blame the king. I'm going to break it like that because I want for and not together. But none of them did anything about. Do it like that. These are subjective choices, of course, so you might want to break them in a different place. And we'd probably both be able to get away with people saying that they're good enough captions. So when we can, we like to use commas as breakpoints. So that's just going to be a one-liner, and then this will be 2, because effectively this is something that's going to fit basically on 3 lines. So we'll break those into 2 subcaptions because we're not going to go more than 2 lines high. per subcaption. So we're going to create a new blank line there, split this, well, I wish my screen didn't do that. That's an annoying feature of this computer that I don't like. So hopefully we can keep my elbow from hitting the volume button and trying to change that. Alright, so we're just about done. You can also just use your mouse if you want. And I should also point out that I've got keystrokes configured so that I can do control down with my pointer finger and then control right with my middle finger, and I can go back and forth between those two fingers really quickly to just move across to the point that I want to get to make my line break. So, but I can do the same thing with Alt Shift, left, right, I'm sorry, down, right, down, right, down, right, up, left, up, left, up, left, down, right, down, right, down, right, up, left, up, left, up, left. We'll put these two into one. We'll go back and review. Kind of a toss up there. Let's go with that. Everything fits within the rectangle. And with that, we're ready to synchronize those to the timeline, which would be the next step. So look for a video that'll explain how to do that. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe, and click the notification bell if you'd like to get notified when new videos are released. Thanks for watching.